A podcast signed on, even though you're right here.
Oh my god, I love
it. Okay, we're good. We're good? Okay, guys, we're gonna get off this and go on live somewhere else. How do I do this? Oh, here we go. Okay. All right. Perfect. We got 12 viewers.
That's pretty amazing.
I think it's still running.
We're like complimenting ourselves. We're like, people are so dumb. It shows up.
Somebody wrote, "What is happening?"
No.
It's like,
why are you here?
Just hold on, guys. The feed is lagging.
Should I go back on live?
Yeah, go back on live. Susie, can you
go
into the
silence?
Anasimone show and see if you're seeing it?
Hey guys, there were some technical difficulties, so we're back.
Just kidding.
Once again, just here to tell you to check out the Facebook page, because I'm going to end this again. No one signed on
Wow,
again.
nobody's even on. Rude.
Oh, okay. And this is Salma, and I'm so excited to have her.
Where do I wave?
That one, right there. How's it going?
Good. Just chilling, having a busy Wednesday.
What did you do today?
Oh, okay, today is not an accurate representation of the rest of my life because I was productive. So, yeah, I went to work early at like 9 a.m. because I begged my coworkers to. Basically, I realized that I got through all of my degrees by like finding the smartest guy in class and just like attaching myself to them and just like bleaching off of their like intelligence and everything. So my master's not any different. So literally I just begged my coworker, I was like, please, is it my defense meeting that's happening on Monday or yours? Like, please help me. So yeah, so I met with him in the morning. I did like I'm like defending my master's on Monday.
Why do you have to defend it?
It's
what?
So, it's like some ritual basically. Like, I'm not even kidding.
They put you in a room full of candles and you have to like
people,
have a seance about your master's.
100%. People are like, that's why it's called a defense, because they're going to be attacking you left, right, and center with like concepts and you're going to be defending yourself. I'm like, why? Just give me the degree. Like, I paid $15,000 a year. What is this?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, tuition is so expensive.
And you're getting your master's in?
It's like a subset of biomedical engineering called clinical engineering at the University of Toronto. But then like I finished, it's just such a hectic master's. Like there was a course component, there was like 1,200 hours of internship. So I finished all of that, but then there's also like a thesis. So that's what I'm doing right now at the Toronto General Hospital, like in lung cancer. And I remember when I first signed up for it, I was like, this is amazing. It has everything. And then now that I'm in it, I'm like, this is crazy. It has everything.
If you're her professor, she loves it. She
100%,
can't wait
please,
to...
all the reference letters.
Salma is actually a comedian as well.
I forgot about that part.
Did you
like
really?
2 minutes.
But I only came here to talk about her biomedical.
100%. So my thesis from the top.
Let's do it.
Oh, man.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So what are your goals? Like to blow up in comedy, or to do this, or to do both, or to like write jokes like Bill Nye the Science Guy? Like what is
Oh my god, imagine. No, I can't do Bill Nye the Science Guy jokes. Mine are not nerdy at all. I spoke at like this U of T like med school panel or whatever. It was like U of T med wants to interview you. I was like, but not for med school? I was like, I will trade my comedy interview for like a spot in your med school.
Wait, so you still have to go to med school?
No. So
Okay.
med school is like totally different than engineering.
Okay,
But like
I have
low-key
heard of that.
every single like biomed like
Yeah.
anything wants to like do med school. We're like yeah, we don't want to do it, but like if it were to come into our labs, like we wouldn't say no, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So but I have like opinions about med school because I think like
Talk about it.
POCs in general are so, I think like everybody's obsession with getting into med school in our community, like Arabs, Desis, like anybody who is like super into it, I feel like it's because it's like a fail-safe mechanism. Like it's not, they're not passionate about it, they don't want to do it. It's just something that will stop them from ever having to deal with like their real talents or their real, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
no,
it's
I
just
get
like,
that for
it's
sure.
like a systemic way to, a surefire way to get into something that will generate money at the end. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you like it, doesn't matter, you hate it, you're good at it, you're not good at it, you're ethical or you're like a piece of shit. Nobody cares. Like they're just like, at the end, I'm gonna be able to like make a living. And I get it because it's so expensive to live now.
Yeah, I don't
like. Yeah.
I don't know how I live.
Exactly.
People are like, you're a comedian? I'm like, yeah, and I work at a sticker company. How do I pay for things? I don't know.
Dunder Mifflin, I'm still not over it.
I literally work at Dunder. If you guys are watching this, it's great. I have a lot of fun. I'm going to get fired after this podcast. They're going to be like...
They're going to be like, Anna, we need to talk about your media presence.
I'm going to be like, sorry.
Yeah.
I have a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
How many people are watching it right now?
Oh, this is on Facebook?
Yeah.
2.
Who are they?
Probably
I think
us.
me
It's
and-
probably I love it.
That's amazing. See,
Me too.
that's how much of a social media presence I have.
Yeah,
No one
exactly. So
cares.
be like, I'm going to take this to my following, all 2 of them.
I always say that when I threaten people.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, so back to like med school. I like went on like 17
Sorry.
tangents. No,
We're gonna
that's
do that a
okay.
lot on this show.
Yeah, but so after that, like, I just realized like, okay, med school is like not for me. Like, I didn't want to do it, whatever. But yeah, basically like at that med school panel or whatever, we had to talk about like comedy and medicine and stuff. And so they were like, everybody give your funniest medical joke. I was like, huh? When it even, I don't, like they're like expecting me to say something like knock knock, like who's there, the doctor, you know what I mean? so not Bill Nye jokes, but yeah, I would ideally love to do comedy 100% full time, but I also don't like know that right now it's not realistic.
But you also really blew up in like a very short time.
I
Like,
think
you came out of nowhere. I creeped you on Instagram. That's how I found
Yeah.
you. And like your first published stuff was like really funny,
Oh yeah,
which is like
the-
very rare to find.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's because of the class that I took, like at Second City, and but now I look at like my first ever set, and
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
like,
same.
what is that doing?
First of all, I was like, who's that tiny
Yeah.
little lesbian? I was like, I look nothing like that, and I still kind of sound like that. I put on this weird like, do you have a comedian voice?
I feel like because I was so nervous in the beginning, my comedian voice is to be like super calm,
Yeah.
and super, but like in reality, when I ran to talk, I'm like high pitched.
Yeah.
That's
I
how-
sound
so-
very like raspy. I sound like,
Okay.
what's her name that died with the eyeliner?
Oh, Amy.
There we go, Amy Winehouse. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at names. I
Yeah,
don't
you're
mean
like,
to diss
what's
the
her
person.
face? We don't.
I'm like, she died, great singer, love her
Yeah.
songs. Yeah, I sound like that sometimes.
Wow, that's super sexy.
Thank you so much. But not in the sexy way, more in the like, can you shut the fuck up? We've been listening to you for 20 minutes and we don't know what you're saying kind of way.
That's everybody first starting. We just like
Yeah.
I said things and I was like, why was that necessary to put in when your set was already 4 minutes longer?
I have stuff that I put on SoundCloud because I was like, people need to hear this. This
Yeah.
is the truth. And I was like,
Yeah.
what is this? Garbage.
Oh my god.
Everything's private now. Like, you'll
Yeah.
find my SoundCloud and you'll be like, she hasn't posted anything. Because
Yeah.
everything is on private. Like,
Yeah, 100%. I was
Yeah.
gonna say blessed. Thank God for the archive button on
Oh my
Instagram.
God.
Oh my god.
I saw some old posts of mine on Instagram,
Yeah.
which I thought were hilarious when I first posted them.
Yeah.
But they had like 2 likes. And
And
I was
you're
like, these don't deserve to be up here.
nobody's allowed to see this.
No one can know that I was not funny at some point.
Yeah.
Or that I have the potential to still be not funny.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're like, nope. Yeah, I think like I think any like publicity or whatever that I got in the beginning was because of the Muslim community. They just like freaked out, which was so funny because I was so scared of the Muslim community. So I kept it hidden for so long, primarily because of my family. I was like so scared, like what they would say or do or
But
whatever.
like, you don't talk about anything like...
Yeah.
Like, if my family saw my stuff, they have every right to disown me. Like, they're probably watching this right now being like, we thought about it.
If they're watching it, that means they're invested and they love you enough. In what you're
I think
doing.
that they don't, it's not about love. I think they're just like, this is going to pay off one day. You know what I mean? And they're like, we're going to get a huge cut.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason they're like, we're not going to say anything yet. We're not
Yeah.
going to kill her.
She's gonna buy us a house.
Exactly.
It's amazing. Yeah. Yeah, like my family was just I also realized that my family, like particularly my parents, are so far removed from like who I am as a person because I'm like the youngest of their children.
How many siblings do you have?
We're 5 altogether.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so they're kind of just, and I'm the youngest, and you know, like some parents will be like, you're not an accident, like we want you, even
We
though
were
it's
both
like,
accidents.
oh, 100%. My parents will like brag about it. My mom got pregnant with me when she was on an IUD.
How does that happen?
It doesn't. Like 0.001%.
God was like,
she's coming. And my mom was like, when God wants something to happen, it happens, all right? I was like, so I'm a miracle? She's like, I was thinking more of a test. And I was was like, oh, okay.
My dad called me and my brother surprises, and I was like, one surprise happens, you know?
Yeah.
A second surprise 7 years later, that's not a surprise, okay? That's more like, how did you do that?
That's all the mistakes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so my parents are kind of just like tired. You
He's
know
calling
how,
right now.
oh my God, don't kill me. He's like, what did you just say about me? That's so
Sorry.
cute that they call them too. Yeah, my so they kind of just adopted this like, if we don't see or hear what she's doing, she's just not doing it, you know?
Yeah.
So then when all of this like blew up in their face and it was really public and stuff, and both my dad and my brother are an imam of a mosque. So
really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So they're like, they're even held to like a higher standard because people will come to them and be like, yo, your daughter, or like your sister. I'm like, first of all, you're a piece of like, you're garbage. Imagine going up to someone being like, yo, your daughter though, or like your sister. But nobody does that. But my dad is so paranoid that like people are gonna do that. So he's like, I must be the first to condemn it before they do it. And I'm like, what? Then you just like open the floodgates for like people's disrespect. Like you don't say anything. And if somebody like even tries to say something to you, you'd be like, excuse me, she's her own person. She does what she wants to do. You know what I mean? So that was like really hard for like my parents in the beginning. And then it was so funny because the first time they ever found out about it or heard about it was like when I was on a podcast. I know, and it was like...
I'm so sorry.
And I was like, it was like two of my friends, they came to my first ever set, and they're like super into comedy and stuff, so I went on their podcast and talked about it, and then I posted it on Facebook. And I have my parents on Facebook.
Wait, the recent podcast of you in that room with like the soundproofing?
Yeah, but this was last year. Around this time. And then my, like, dad comes downstairs and he's like, Salma. And I'm like, oh man, here we go. Like,
was he like red?
Oh, he was just like, he's just coming down the stairs. My dad had like this distinct way of coming down the stairs. My brother always imitates it when he wants to like freak me out. Anyway, so he comes down the stairs. He's like, Salma. I'm like, oh man, here we go. This is what I've been putting off for months. He's like, Salma, how could you? And I'm like, oh God. He's like, take a picture with two boys? I was like, Dad, do you know what program I'm in? Like engineering, it's just all, I was just so confused. Like this is how like far removed he is, right? And it was just, that was literally like just the podcast when he found out like what comedy actually was. He literally like emailed Saudi Arabia and was like, hi, do you have like Islamic rulings on comedy? I was like, what? How can you just like email Saudi Arabia? What does that mean?
Dear Siri.
Totally.
Oh my
and
God.
then all I could think is like a council of like the Islamic scholars sitting
every
and being,
imam
like,
from
things we need to discuss, like ISIS, Salma's jokes. You know what I mean? I was like,
God.
why is this?
With that like orb in the middle?
Yeah, totally. and then he goes, and then like it was just so much drama, like a lot of back and forth. And just like him, like him trying to figure out like what is it even, blah blah blah. I realized like there's two layers to like them hesitating in the beginning. The first layer was obviously the religious aspect. So for them, they're like, you're going to these places like at night. There are basements basically.
There's no way of selling parents.
Yeah,
Like,
I know. I'm like, yeah, I don't feel safe either. And he's like, everybody there is drunk. Everybody there is a man. Everybody there, like, all this stuff. I was like, true. And I was just like, and then he goes, and so there's all that aspect. And then on top of that, he, like, there was, like, all their religious concerns. I was like, yeah, I share that also. Like, it's not the ideal space that I want to be in. And then he goes, like, but then I was like, okay, let's say I take all of that out. Let's say I perform at, like, a Muslim all women's event during the daytime, like at a gala or something. I was like, would you guys be okay with that? And then they were like, why do comedy? Why don't you just like give a speech? I was like, see, there's like the cultural component to it too. Yeah. You know what I mean? That they're just like, oh, how can you? I was like doing a podcast with my brother, and then he was like, so you're an aspiring like comedian or comedienne? And then my mom was like, she literally like, she's sitting right across from us, and he was the dirtiest look. I was like, yep, that tells you everything you need to know. Like,
I love that, like, every parent will use, like, some kind of, like, godly figure to make you stop doing something.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then when you, like, you back them up, you're like, totally.
Yeah.
But, like, let's say that's not it.
Exactly.
Then they're like, TBH, I just don't like it. Like,
yeah,
my parents would use that for everything.
Yeah. And then it's so hard to, like, differentiate, because to me, I'm like, okay, I really care about, like, religion and spirituality, like, that's so important to me and stuff. but then like, you know, which part of it is actually true. Like, they just intertwine it, and it's like an abuse of power, right? When they do that. And so
I always like to like play the like devil's advocate card with them, because I know how like I'm such a shitty kid for this, but I'm like, what if God's not real? And then the conversation totally derails, and I'm like, thank God, because I do not want to talk about
They're
what we're
like, okay, let's sit down.
It's a very, you learn how to like, you learn manipulation lying at a very young age when you grow up with ethnic parents. It's not a good thing, but it comes in handy with them. I never use it against people I genuinely love. Not that I don't genuinely
love.
Love you.
I know. It's definitely hard. And then I just realized at that point, like, so I was telling my friend, the one who did the podcast, he was like, yo, the numbers we got for this podcast were like amazing. Because that was like my first time ever talking about comedy. And then he was like, I was like, dude, my parents are so mad at me. Like, they won't talk to me right now. And he's like, you should journal this. I'm sure people would be so interested in learning about like your struggles on this journey or whatever. And then I was like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And then after like I got into like that Saudi like Islamic ruling thing with my dad, I was like, March whatever 2017, I'm thinking of deleting mom and dad off Facebook. And I did. I blocked them. It's just been
I don't even know how you had your parents on Facebook.
I was dumb. This is me. I'm like, you know what? Like, I can't block them. Like, in some alternate universe, like, first of all, they never even liked my pictures. I was like, you guys are garbage friends. And then they'll like my oldest sister's pictures or my cousin's. I'm like,
wow.
You like more than me? Like, this is just,
you're a comedian, so.
I was like, you don't get anything. Okay, we're cutting off your supply.
They're training, like, rejection, you know? They're like, we're not going to like her pictures because we want her to understand that people aren't going to like her.
Yeah.
Which is what my parents did. They called me fat when I was a kid. So now if somebody calls me fat, I'm like, I already know that.
Yeah. Oh my God, I feel like our families are brutal.
They're like, I don't think I'd be the person I am today, which is do not do this to your kids. But it's an ethnic thing where like they don't appreciate you as a child.
Yeah.
And you like do so much to make them happy 100%. Or like try to.
Have you ever heard the words, I'm proud of you? And out of the context of
one time my dad said it and I cried and I was like, what?
Oh my God.
But
what was the occasion?
I'm honest. I think it's because I'm like the first girl in my family to like have like moved out and like support myself and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which if they didn't say they were proud of me for that, I think I would have like blown something up or something.
Oh my God. You know what's interesting? Like my parents would look at that as an extreme act of rebellion.
They for sure did at first.
Yeah.
Like, they were so unhappy with it, but I explained to my mom, and I didn't really explain. I was like, I put a lease on. They were so upset. It, like, definitely tore us apart.
Yeah.
But now, I think as I got older, and it's not like I ran away from them. I kind of, like, I established my life. I was like, I'm an adult now, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And, like, they knew I wasn't going to be this, like, church girl they expected me to be.
Yes, yeah.
So I think they're just happy and proud of me for, like, not getting pregnant yet, you know? I think that's what they were saying.
I think that's another thing though, like that, because I found that similar in my parents, where they're just like, well, moving out means running away and cutting off all communication with us and never talking to us again. We're never going to see your children. We don't know what our bloodline is. I'm like, why? It literally means.
You know, I kind of eased them into it. Like, first I started dating a white guy. That was just like a whole thing. And then I moved out, and they were like, I think she started with the worst, and moving out is kind of...
No, that's valid. I think my parents would think that too. Yeah. So, like, when I moved downtown, only for, like, 6 months, though, because I was like, my wallet was like, LOL. I was like, true.
No, it's too much.
I know, I went back, but when I moved, and I told them, I was like, it's only going to be for, like, 6 months till I'm done my thesis, whatever. And they were just, like, so dramatic about it. But then they're like, this is them. This is our parenting scope, and if you, like, step at like, literally 1 meter outside of it, our brains cannot compute. So, like, a normal, like, and by normal, I was fully referring to white, like, my internal colonization, but, like, a regular, healthy parent would tell their child, like, okay, fine, you want to move out? Then I'm going to come, I'm going to meet your roommates, I want to see who you're living with, I want to see where you're living, I want to see who you're talking to, I want to see this and that, I want you to call me every night, I want you whatever, all that stuff, right? My parents were just like, nope, do whatever you want. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, you don't want to come see the place or see, like,
my mom
my
refused to come visit, like, go up. She's like, no, I don't want to, like, get in the way. I'm like, I live with one other person who likes you. Yeah. Like, you're, like, not really a mom to them. My mom's an Aquarius, so she's not really, like, a mom to anyone. Yeah. But, like, you know,
what's Aquarius? I don't even know.
They're very like cold and detached, but I'm sure there's an Aquarius watching this right now. Like, no, I have so much love, and I'm like, relax.
What's the birthday?
Oh, like January, February, like early February.
That's my mom too.
Oh, there you go.
Like that also. I was like,
when's her birthday?
February 11th, I think.
Yeah.
Is that, yeah.
I think so.
She like is so like distant. It's just kind of like, I love you from afar.
Yes.
Because you're gross.
I'll feed you and stuff like that, but like genuinely saying I love you is like not. I'll be on the phone with her and be like, okay, love you, and she's already like hung up.
Yeah, she's like gross.
Yeah. I think I saw my parents kiss once, and I was like mortified.
Oh my
I was
God.
like, you guys don't even like each other. Why are you doing that?
Oh my God. Yeah, like it's so like with them, I guess it took them like time to sort of wrap their head around it. But yeah, my mom saw me do comedy for the first time ever, I think last month.
Where?
Like International Women's Day. So it was that exactly what I explained, like an all women Muslim gala.
So did you bring your mom to a bar?
Oh my God, imagine she would never walk in. Oh my God.
She'd leave after the first set.
Oh, 100%. My sister's like, so I brought my siblings to Second City, and the other comedians were like kind of vulgar.
Yeah.
And but it was like vulgar, but like not necessarily funny vulgar.
Yeah.
And so I think everybody in the audience was kind of just like whatever. But my oldest sister couldn't handle it. Like she literally was like panicking, and then after I went, I was like maybe the fifth person. She just left and she waited outside. Yeah, and then I had another friend, like, because I brought like 50 Muslims to that thing.
Listen, if you guys, you need to book Salma. Every time I've had Salma on a show, she has brought like all of the Middle East to, like, you sold out like a quarter of my show. There were like 15 tickets that all sold out at the same time, and I was like, what? And they all had Arab names, and I was like, this is Salma's crew.
Oh my God. There's one time I was booked at the Cameron House with Dana and Jen, and I went to that, and then like all my friends decided for some reason to come to that show from the ones I was performing at, and I'm not kidding, there was like 25 Muslims at that show, and then like 4 others. And the comedians were like, what? And then it was just so funny because the first comedians, who were like obviously straight white guys, were just like, we don't see them, and we're just gonna talk to our kind. And I was like, okay, you're gonna talk to like the one grandpa in the front seat. And so they just did their set all about like, I don't even know, when do like straight white guys joke about like porn, masturbation, Tinder, weed? That's everything we cannot relate to. So they joked about all of that, and nobody laughed, like nobody was feeling it. And then
it's different when a straight white guy does it, because it's like, yes, we know you do that. What else can you contribute?
Exactly. But anytime I see a straight white guy, I'm like, what are you about to tell me about yourself that I don't already know inside out? And then I see like a person of color, LGBTQ, I'm like, yes.
He's doing the most basic thing, like swiffering the ground, and you're like,
I'm like, this
so
is
proud of
so eye-opening, you know? And so totally. And so then I think it was like Camille Cote who like went up. She was the first person to address the elephant in the room, all 25 of them, and she was like, have you ever? And she like made a reference to like a one-night stand or something. She was like, she's like, coming out is, people say like girls are needy or something like that, right? And then she's like, but have you ever been with a guy who like needs reassurance on the size of his dick? And literally everybody was like, nope, can't relate. And then she was like, okay, maybe this is not the right crowd for that. And then she starts working with the crowd. She's like, anybody here smoke weed? And my friend was like, we're not going to tell you if we do, because they're like embarrassed of the other Muslims judging them. And so then she was like, okay, what about this? And then she started like going through all her bits to see like what works with us, or she was like, just pretend with me or whatever. Yeah. And then after her, like a few comedians went up and they're like, Muslim jokes. They started trying to think of like stuff to say, and they're like, what else do you guys do? What else? You know what I mean? And they like really catered to the audience that was in front of them.
Because that's what you're supposed to do.
Exactly, that's what a show is.
That is, if you see 25 people not laughing, you're not just going to be like, well, I'm doing this anyway. Yeah, like, you have to find like some kind of, what?
Exactly.
Yeah,
so that was like really, to me, I was like, wow, this is, I feel like when, because like Muslims, I remember when I first did the Second City show, my friend was like, this is amazing, not because like, you a Muslim is like bringing stories to people who might not know that, but like you're also bringing Muslims into spaces that they traditionally would not go to.
Yeah.
I was like, why is it a good thing that I'm dragging Muslims to hell with me? I was like, I don't get it. But then after seeing that, I was like, oh, this makes a lot of sense, because now they'll have to like tailor to you. You know what I mean? And it's all about like demand. If you don't like take up space or like, you know, pay for things or whatever, then people are not going to cater to you.
Right.
It's like with all these, like, I mean, this is, you know, controversial or whatever, but all these companies that are like, the hijab sells money, and Nike's like, yo, we're about it. You know what I mean? They all of a sudden, they're like, Hanima, they bring like the only, like, I guess mainstream hijabi model, and they like make her model their like sportswear hijab or something.
You had an Instagram story about a hijab that was like $400 or something. Yeah. Please tell me about that.
Oh my God.
And tell everyone who missed out on the funniest Instagram story I've ever seen.
I'm about to rant. But basically, my sister sends me this link to a like hijab website, and this is like based in Dubai, okay? So that gives you some context, but still, I'm outraged. I open the link. It's like the hijab looks like it was made with like a $12 fishnet fabric sprinkled with some like $1 glitter, and it was being sold for $325.
But why? Like, did it do something to your hair?
So,
like, does it dye your hair while you're wearing it? Like, I don't understand.
Better wrap you in the arms of God himself. Like, I was like, this better blow dry my hair underneath that nobody's gonna see. Better become an invisibility cloak when a racist walks by. Like, I'm so shocked. And then my sister, my oldest one's like so bougie, so she was like, I don't know, get it for like an engagement or something. I was like, why don't you buy like an entire freaking restaurant and feed everybody at that engagement instead? Like, I don't get it. And like,
oh my God.
Oh, I see things like this, like extreme materialism and extreme, I don't know, like even just I just got back from Saudi Arabia. I was in Mecca and Medina, which is where Muslims go for like the pilgrimage.
Okay,
and
I literally didn't know you were in Mecca until I was like, man, her pics are so cool. Where I literally thought it was in Toronto, and then I saw Mecca and I was like, holy shit, she's and I was literally just talking about Mecca the other day. Like, I was thinking about it and I was like, man, it would be so cool. I literally cannot. I'm covered in tattoos and I'm not Muslim.
Oh my God, it's so hard to get in. They didn't even let me in. They were like, so this is how messed up they are. And I'll tell you all about all of their rules. Basically, you're not allowed to travel to the country and like enter the country if you are a single woman unless you have a male chaperone. Like, you need to have a male chaperone. Yes. So my brother was traveling from London. He was going to Saudi, and then I was traveling from Toronto, but my visa literally has his name on it because it's conditional upon me traveling with him. So they're like, nope, you're not allowed to travel. I was like, what do you mean? I spent like $3,000 on this trip. Yeah. They're like, nope. And then I was like, what are you talking about? They're like, they're gonna kick you. They're not gonna let you in when you get to Saudi, and then they're gonna fine our airline like $5,000, and they're gonna like take away like what is the equivalent of like demerit points for an airline. I was like, what do you? And it was just case closed. And then my dad knew somebody who knew somebody.
Yeah, that's Arabs know everyone.
Yeah.
So just give up on this whole like security shit at the airport because we know people. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
But then it's like, even just me getting in was like, you know, a privilege for like having connections and whatever. But if it was like another person who didn't, they wouldn't be able to go. And so then I get there, and anyways, like, it was fine when we got there. Nobody said anything and stuff. But yeah, like it was like so much drama, like just getting in and stuff, and then like when I was actually there, I can't even remember what I was like saying before this that like led to Mecca.
I really don't. I mean, we're talking about $400 hijabs. We're talking about disappointing our parents. That's how you get to Mecca.
Yeah. Oh, I was talking about like how it's like super crowded there, right? So there's like this, specifically in Medina, which is where like Prophet Muhammad used to live, and he passed away, and his grave is in the mosque that's there. So that's like the mosque that everybody goes to when they go there. And there's like this one particular part that he mentioned in like one of his sayings that is like between where his house is to like another like pillar in the mosque or whatever. And he's like, this place is really blessed. It's like basically a garden from the gardens of paradise, right? And so people have said like a prayer there is like equivalent to like 1,000 prayers, like it's super blessed. So first of all, let's get into male versus female privilege in like the mosque, okay? So to access this super tiny room, it's first of all, access is 24 hours to men. Obs. obviously, okay?
Yeah.
And the women who are like, I would honestly argue that women are like more religiously dedicated than men. Like they're so super into it. They're like first to wake up, always like first in line. Like I would say
we're the reason they get to anywhere on time.
Yeah.
Just gonna throw that out there.
Exactly. Yeah. Even despite not being able to drive to the mosque, they still like get there first. And so then, by the way, it's like in effect when I was there, I was like, why are all the women driving? What's happening? They're like,
I heard.
Yeah, they're like, it's in effect on like the 10th month, which is what, like October? I was like, all right. I was like, y'all there better be some like female takeover on the streets.
They're just gonna be like driving.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, please don't touch my car. If you hit my car, this is all over.
Exactly. Yeah. And so basically like it's only open to women, that room, for a total of like 4 hours. So after like, and at the worst
times. Of the 24 that's available. Okay.
At like 2 hours at like between like 6 to 7:30 a.m. and then like at 10:30 p.m. to like midnight. So while the men go to sleep and like eat, we can finally go in. And it's not even the full thing that's open to you. It's only like half of it. And so then to like actually go there, they like split, first of all, there's like thousands and thousands of people, and then they like split us up into groups based off of ethnicities.
What?
I was like, why? They were like, Arabs here, Malaysians, Indonesians here, Turkish, and then like Indians and Pakistanis.
And how are they gonna know?
Because of what they look like. They're so
but
they,
like,
they couldn't place me. They were so, because I was sitting in the Arab section, but I was talking in English the whole time to my friend who's Somali. She doesn't fit in any of those categories. Yeah. So we're just like sitting, and I'm talking to her in English the whole time, and then this one girl turns to me and she's like, like she was like, why are you speaking English? And I was like, what? I was like, is there a problem? And she was like, it's just weird. And then she was like, and then this lady in front of her was like, the Turks are over there, like Turkish. And I was like, I'm not Turkish. And then the girl next to her goes like, the lady next to her was like, then where are you from? I was like, Egypt. And then she goes, and they were all just like so irritated, and I was like, y'all are weird as hell.
That is so bizarre. Because like, that's like, the first thing I thought of was like
apartheid.
That and like you being confused for a Turkish person. Because like Turks and Arabs to me, we look exactly the same.
Yeah, if you wear like your like the scarf in like this weird like 3D or I don't know structure that they do, you're basically Turkish. Like it's, I don't know, it's so, and so they were like, and then a lot of people like, especially when I was in high school, I used to pass as Pakistani like all the time.
What?
So yeah.
I get a lot. I don't know how. I get half black. I got half black, half Armenian. I've gotten Greek. I've gotten
that was so
Hispanic. Yeah, that one was specific because I was at an Armenian like festival.
Okay.
I had a weird past. I thought I was Armenian for a bit. And somebody was like, "Yeah, are you half black?" And I was like, "What's the other half?"
Yeah.
Just to figure out whatever you're trying. He's like, "Armenian, obviously." And I'm like,
"Don't kill me."
Where? Yeah, I get. So I think if I went there, they'd be like, you just have to wait.
Yeah,
until everyone's.
Wait until all the ethnicities have gone. But basically, what they do then is they're like, once they split you up, they're like, okay, you don't know which door is gonna open first. Okay, like one of the doors is gonna open. Also, because this Judgment Day, like I'm so confused.
Does somebody open them? Or
like a man from the other side opens it because it's on the men's side, right? Yeah. So they basically like all of a sudden they just choose which a random door to open. They push it open, and it's, I'm not joking, Lion King. Like thousands and thousands of people just running in a stampede, but like none of them have stamina. Guess who does though? It's a long run. It's like a minute and a half, like consistent, like 5.5 on the treadmill, like consistent speed.
I wouldn't know. I haven't gone on the treadmill in like 35 years, and I'm 24.
So people were just like tiring out. We lost some people. This is like the point in which people were so emotionally invested in this, is that when they were running, people started doing the zaruta. They were like, I was like, where are we going? What? I'm so confused. So no, I was so shocked. So then we like get there, and then because I was fast, I made it to like the first 2 rows, and then I was like praying and stuff. Obviously, then my heart beat like, and I'm like,
I don't want to die here.
Yeah, totally. And so then by the time people come, but then this was like when I was the first person to get there, but then the next 2 times I went, I got there when it was already full, so there's like literally like 400 people in like such a constrained space. Nobody's praying, like everybody's just standing, pushing each other. People are pushing, trying to go forward, other people are pushing to the right, trying to exit. And it's just like,
and do you have stuff with you?
It's like, I had like a backpack with me that got pulled. Everything got pulled. One time, like my scarf got pulled at one point, and I was like, I'm being so frustrated as to how there's no order. Yeah. And then I saw like somebody taking a picture of the men's side, so I could see like the screen on their phone. And it was like all the men were just sitting like in rows. I was like, what do you mean? There's like 75, like 100 of us here just like standing, fighting, pulling each other's scarves. It's just nuts. And like the men, because they let them in like a systemic way, and then they kind of like kick them all out, and then let another batch in and whatever. So anyways, after coming out of that, I was just like, this is so hectic. Like, I don't feel any blessings at all. I did not feel any spiritual, like, contentment. I was like, I feel like if the prophet saw the situation right now, he'd be like, it's canceled. There's no heaven on earth. All of you are monsters. Like, and so, I don't know. I feel
all of that, like, you were just describing, like, me as a child in a Wonderland crowd, and I don't enjoy any of that. Like, you're so excited to go to Wonderland, and there's 7 billion people there.
Exactly. And, like, but just imagine this, like, everybody pushing you to, like, get onto the rides, and it's just... Like, so I see, like, extreme materialism. Yeah, that's how it would be back home, literally.
I wish there was a ride there.
Yeah, that wouldn't make you die, like, you know? Anyways, yeah, so, like, I see extreme materialism, like, the hijab, that's, like, $400, and then, like, this, people literally, like, killing each other to, like, pray in, like, a paradise, like, Garden of Paradise, and I'm just like, what, this is a test. I think it's, like... Actually, you'd get more rewards if you didn't engage in 100%. It, because, like...
There's so many, like, I was thinking about this the other day when, like, every 5 minutes a new mosque and a new, like, Coptic Orthodox church, like, pop up right in front of each other, like, some kind of, like, battle of the in churches. In Egypt and here. Oh, like, anytime, like, a church hears about a mosque opening up, they're like, gotta open up a church. And we're like, guys. And then it's just, like... There's, like, condos being built, and then lots of mosques, lots of churches. Yeah. Everyone else is chilling. Like, when's the last time you heard about, like, a Buddhist temple being built?
Yeah. Also, I was gonna say, like, I think our community is, like, 100% gonna abandon the mosque in, like, this generation or next. Because the mosques are like, at least in like, for a Muslim community, like, the mosques are being run by, like, older uncles, like, who are so not in touch.
Are they not doing, like, youth, like...
Like they try to, but like it's stuff that you explain on stage. That's like, you know, girls with God, like everybody else is whatever, like, you know, pants are haram, like stuff like that. And you're just like, oh my God, who are you like actually catering to? You know what I mean?
It's so weird. And then they try their hardest to like cater to the youth by getting like younger people to speak. Like they've tried to drag me in like at that. I had somebody message me on Facebook. You've seen my comedy. Like my comedy, I don't even invite my parents to comedy shows, let alone like
and they tell you to perform.
I had somebody be like, do you want to perform at the St. Mark's barbecue in Scarborough? And I was like, first of all, this is like my childhood church. Where everyone that has ever babysat me, that has ever like
judged
me, seen me hug a boy and like put a hex on me, like they would be there. You know what I mean? I was like, there's no way in the history of my life that I would ever perform a set in the parking lot of my church in Scarborough.
You know what they would do, right? They'd be like, oh, don't be like so-and-so's daughter.
Exactly.
Like what she became.
And then my dad would be like, now I can't get anywhere, any connections at the airport because you did comedy at the St. Mark's Festival. But like with the whole like, what are you calling it? Like everything just being so bougie now. Like they built this like huge Coptic church. Like next to the old one that we used to have because they were like, we need to fit more people. And I was like, not this much. Like there's nobody knows what Coptic Orthodox is. First of all, like we don't need this. But they built this like huge cathedral, and everyone's like, it's so beautiful. Da 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 da. Marble floors. The works. Like as usual, every like thing that Arabs do is like so extra. Arabs, everything like Middle East, Africa, like everything we do is extra. Oh my God, and like we got a letter in the mail being like we overestimated the costs of building the church, and then they put in a few Bible quotes to like encourage people, which I'm sure they do. They're just like donate, and then they even put in something about like, you know, if you have a line of credit, like if you want to give that to some form of like credit. And I was like, what? Or like your mortgage. I'm like, you're financing the church you already built through the people. Like it's so weird. People just want to go pray. And then go home.
Oh man. Yeah, there's definitely like some sort of culture. I feel like the only thing our community ever does is like fundraise for mosques. I don't know what other initiatives nothing.
Or like somebody, or fundraise for stuff happening like back home.
Yeah.
But like
it never stays local.
Yeah, it never stays local.
Which is so weird because like, so Islamically, like there's so many sayings by like the Prophet and stuff, which is where we get our, I guess, like rulings on like what to do and stuff. So charity is like one of the pillars of Islam, so you're supposed to donate like 2.5% of your like lowest amount of savings.
Holy shit, it's calculated.
Yeah, it's like, it's pretty low. Like other communities have this too, but it's like super high. It's like 10% of like their income or something. But yeah, it's like, but for this it's like 2.5% and of like your lowest amount of savings, but your savings, if like you're like me and they're in the negatives, then like they have to be a minimum number.
Yeah.
And so then you're supposed to donate it, and so many of these sayings say that you should always donate local, like it should stay local. It should always be so many, even just like things about if you go to sleep and like your neighbor is starving, then like you're not gonna go to heaven, like all these things, right? And we're just like, what? Who? Like Syria, Pakistan, like Palestine, we just send it, like, I mean, of course.
But it's not even like thoughtful spending. Like we get the paperwork or whatever. It's like so and so needs our help somewhere.
Yeah.
But then it ends there.
Yeah.
Like, okay, where do we send the money? Send it to this address.
Yeah.
Any follow-up? No. How are they doing? Did they exist?
Yeah.
We don't know. You know what I mean? It's kind of like World Vision, but like...
Yeah. There's a lot of lack of transparency in these organizations, and then nobody will trust them afterwards.
Of course. Yeah. And then even also it's like the places that they're going to.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like I was telling my dad when we were traveling to Egypt this year, I was like, can we stop by Sudan?
Yeah.
And he was like, no.
Yeah.
And I was like, why not? Like, don't we have family there? And he's like, they all fled.
Oh, man.
And then he was like, also, we're going to get a red flag on the passport. And then we started talking about, like, money going through and stuff like that. Like, if people donate money, like, if people are like, World Vision, like, nothing actually gets past a certain point.
You're right,
like, the soldiers just take it, and they're like, sick, thanks, and they bounce. Like, that's it.
You're right, yeah. It's super tough. And then organizations that do get there, they get flagged for being, like, in the Muslim community, for being, like, terrorist-affiliated organization. And I'm like, they are a relief organization who are literally giving, like, first aid kits to people on the streets of, like, Palestine. They're just like, no. And so, yeah, you literally don't, like, it's hard to know where your money goes or what to donate to. And
also, like, fix here first.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I always say. I'm like, you want to help, like, it's falling apart.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me when people, like, try to, it's helpful in the sense where, like, if you can.
Yeah.
And you know where it's going and you've done your research, yes, it'll be helpful.
Yeah.
But, like, if you're just, I feel like people just, like, throw money away at, like, causes.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, I'm helping.
Yeah.
I'm like,
exactly.
Okay, sure.
Man, so this conclusion is give it to Anasimone.
Yeah, give it to me. I'll spend it so wisely.
100%.
I order my groceries online and everyone gives me shit for it.
Do you actually? Oh my, is it worth it?
It's, okay, so what I did, it's called instacart.ca, use my code. Somebody use my code and I will, like, keep getting $10 off my order. So it cancels out the, like, fee and, like, the shipping fee or shipping, like, the delivery fee.
Yeah.
And like the prices are, I'm at a point right now in my life, I sound so bougie and ridiculous. I could definitely go to the grocery store.
I don't want to spend time with common folk.
Exactly.
Yeah. Unless it's on my podcast.
I just get so anxious in grocery stores, and like I am just like an anxiety-ridden person where if it comes to like doing like basic tasks like laundry, it'll take me like a million years.
Yeah.
Just because I like me thinking about having to do that. Yeah. Is like a whole process. I'm like, oh my god, I have to do that. And then I take a nap and the day's gone.
That's like me with taxes.
Oh, don't get me. It took me 2 years to do my taxes.
I haven't done my taxes since 2013.
I'll give you a contact. This guy that I went to high school with he messaged me once after I did my taxes with H&R Block. Do not do that. Yeah. I got fucking scammed or whatever. No. The government was like, hey, here's your audit form. And I was like, No way. But it was fine. They just, H&R Block has no idea what they're doing. I went, did my taxes, I brought my like subway passes and stuff like that. Yeah. And the lady was like, what is this for? And I was like, they're my transport passes. And she's like, for what? And I was like, for my taxes. And I was like, do you want my like rent receipts? And she's like, for what? I was like, let me just do it myself. Like, why am I paying you for this? But I told him that I was like, I did my taxes through H&R Block. And he's like, why'd you do that? I'm like, yeah, I regret it. And then he was like, I'll do it for you. Just give me whatever info. Yeah. Which is what I did.
Yeah. And then, so let me tell you, I have a contact who's like an accountant. He's amazing, and he like does it for me and my brother. And he's just like, give me all your info. And I'm like, cool. And that's the part that's giving me anxiety.
Are you serious?
So like literally just sending him my stuff. He's like, hey, he harasses me to do my taxes.
Yeah, that's what I kind of went MIA because I had to get a certain significant like piece of information.
Yeah.
And like literally 7 months went by, and he kept sending me texts. He's like, hey man, you're like a year late, and I'm like, okay, here you go, and I finally did it, and I'm still waiting on my check. So
oh my god.
Waiting, that check is so important. That check is gonna go towards more groceries being purchased online. I think people may have DM'd some questions.
Do they actually? This is so exciting. Do people know who I am? Like, I feel like they're just gonna ask random questions.
Only one person asked me, and they said, it's Mira El Hussein. She's so cute. I love her so much. She said, how is she so perfect? So, please tell us how you are so...
Anasimone.
Definitely about you.
Well, first of all, having really tough ethnic parents, no one kidding.
It really does form you into like the perfect being.
Oh my god, yeah, and having, I don't know, are you the oldest sibling?
Yes. Okay. When you said you were the youngest, I was like, that's why your life's so easy.
Yeah, true, definitely true, because like, any strictness that I face from like my parents right now was just like times 20 with my older siblings. Because they had energy.
I saw my dad offer my younger brother like a sip of his beer.
Yeah.
And my brother's like, he was like 16, and I was like, what? And my dad was like, what? He's a man, you know?
Oh my god.
And I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, we let you do stuff. I'm like, when?
You had to fight for it. But also like, there's that like, because he's a boy also, you'll never really know unless like you had a younger sister and then you saw that. But then you would definitely see like, but for sure with guys, they're just like, I remember one time, this is not an exaggeration, this was like, I think maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, I woke up like late on a weekend or something, and I went into the washroom, but like, I don't think I turned the light on or something because it was like super bright outside, and then like my parents come out and they're like, where is she? And my dad's like, oh my god, all the time, it's like 10 a.m. on a Saturday. They're like, all the time she leaves, we don't know where she is, that girl's too much, she's like rebelling, whatever. And then my dad like calls the SWAT team basically. And then like I come out and I'm like, hi, I was just in the washroom. And then like, and then later that day they're like, where's Omar? Omar's my brother. They're like, I haven't seen him for like 3 days. I'm like, he has been camping in like Algonquin Park for the past week. Like they just did not even care, didn't even notice, nothing. And with me, they're just like, how could she use the washroom? Like, you know what? Next time I'm using the downstairs washroom, then you'll call the cops for real.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
They're just in their mind, they're like, well, guys are safe. Like, I know my dad does it more so out of, like, I remember one time, I told him, I was like, oh, you don't have to pick me up from, like, UTM. I just, because it's super close to my house, so I just go there to study sometimes. So I was like, you don't have to pick me up from here. I'll just, like, ride my bike, like, to and from here. LOL, I tried to, there's, like, a hill. That was just a good idea. That never ended up happening. But anyways, so I told him that. I was like, I'll just bike home or whatever. And then my dad was like, he just like blew up. He's like, didn't you hear about the girl who like got raped in the dorms last week? And it was true. There was like some situation or whatever the week before. Like, he's just genuinely afraid for my safety. Like, he's like, if you take the subway late at night, if whatever, this and that, like, he's so scared that I'm gonna get like attacked and stuff. And then, but my mom just like could not give a shit about my safety, but it's just all about like, what are people gonna say? Yep. Like, nobody's gonna marry. That's like.
Do you ever wonder what they're talking about? I'm like, what people? Who?
I don't even know where my own friends live. Why would my parents?
Every time I see my mom, she's like, how's and she'll name somebody I haven't spoken to in literally 10 years. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. And she's like, what are they studying? I'm like, I don't know. She's like, why don't you know anything about what they're studying? Isn't that important to you? I'm like, no.
Yeah. Like, can you know for certain where like 10 of your friends live right now? Like, no. I don't, and so.
I text them right before I show up at their house. I'm like, what's your address?
Yeah, and then my parents will be like, everybody knows, like, they think we're in a village.
Yes, like, I'm like, this isn't cartoon. Like, we're not down the street from each other.
Exactly, and they're like, did you see so-and-so's daughter? Like, she did whatever. And I'm like, nobody does that.
My mom was like, are you going to so-and-so's engagement? And I was like, when is it? And it was on the day of Shade's 1-year anniversary.
Oh yeah, you said it.
And I was, oh yeah, good times. And I was like, no, I'm not. And she's like, why not? And I was like, 1, I don't like her. 2, it's on my shows 1 year, and you're more in touch with everyone else's engagements, bridal showers, than like my most iconic thing I have ever done.
Exactly. Doesn't it feel good though to be like, no, I'm not going to a wedding just because I don't like you?
One time I invited myself to a wedding just because there was an open bar, and they're still, I'm sure they're upset about it. They were like, yeah, there's a table for you, and I was like, yeah, I know there.
Yeah.
I came here to drink.
Oh my god. Yeah, now I just literally, there was one summer where I was invited to like 30 weddings, and I went to all of them because I was dumb. Yeah.
Yeah, I did the same thing. But it was like my first year at like being invited to weddings. And like at first you're like, holy shit, this is so cool. Yeah. I'm an adult. Arab weddings. Oh my god. Story. Right? You're like, ooh, elegant. Ooh, because our weddings were so extra.
Oh my god, so extra.
Like when you see like a regular person's wedding, they're like, this is me in a farmhouse and our like jar candles.
Exactly.
And then our
family's like denim jackets over our floral dresses, and I'm like, is that what you're wearing to the makeup session? And then you're changing into your debutante ball gown, right?
I was in Egypt for 3 weeks. Yeah. Okay. And people were like, oh my god, you're going to the home country, you're gonna have a great time. Yeah. For 2.5 of those weeks was wedding.
Was just
preparing. There was the henna. There was like the pre-part. I said no to one of the henna parties, and like my family excommunicated me. Yeah. They're like, the bride, I'm like, is never gonna see me again because she's in Africa. Like what? Like it doesn't matter. And like, it's just so much. I don't know. I can't do weddings.
I don't know if we were like following each other last year, but I went to like in March. I went to Egypt in March because my cousin was getting married. Oh my god, it was. I'm gonna actually send you like.
I have cried at every single wedding I've been a part of. Yeah. And not because it was like a beautiful ceremony, but like out of stress. Yeah. Like I have broken down before the wedding that I went to in Egypt this year. Yeah. They got some guy from the city to like do our hair, like to do a house call.
Oh my god, your stories. I remember this.
And he cut my bangs. Yeah. He cut my bangs 4 hours before the wedding. Yeah. And I was like sobbing because like all the anxiety that had built up from like the wedding events and like finding a dress and like what henna design am I gonna
like
get?
Passive aggressive comments that your family have given you the past 2 weeks. It's just so weird.
Like all my cousins from Australia are like super fit and like I'm not, and they were like, just make like your body is so nice. That I'm like, listen.
Oh, at least they said that to you. You know what my aunt said to me last year? She was like, I don't even know. I think we were just like chilling and like at one of these henna parties, and then she just like all of a sudden burst and was like, Salma, like you just need to lose weight already. And I was like, what? I was like, this seems like it was on your mind.
But was the wedding here? Was it?
It was there. It was in Egypt.
And was she living there?
Yeah.
Was she from?
Yeah,
oh, that's so weird. I think they were just being extra nice to me because I hadn't seen them in like 10 years.
Yeah.
And they were like, if we say something like mean to her, which they did, like they said the most offensive shit, and I lost my shit like the day before I left. I was like, I can't. I'm sorry.
Oh man.
But no, my family here calls me fat. That's why I don't go to any family functions.
Mine does too, but I think like, okay, there was like a period in my life, I think in 2014, where I was like super fit. Like it was like the most fit I'd ever been, and I was like a depressed, literally like monster. Like I was just. My whole life revolved around food. I like eventually developed like a binge eating disorder right after that, and it was just like I'd never been more stressed and more unhappy and more like anxious and depressed than I was in that time. Yeah. When everybody in the world was so like it was such a huge contrast between like how I felt versus how everybody in the world was like, you look amazing. Yep. Oh my god, you lost so much weight. You're incredible. Keep doing what you're doing. And I was like, I am so depressed. Like, I never thought about suicide or anything, but I was like, I am in level 9 million depression. And then my dad would come to me and he's like, Salma, like, a Muslim can't be depressed. You need to be closer to God. And I'm like,
literally,
Dad, this is everything. I was like, this is everything we tell. Because, like, I was a counselor at, like, this distress Muslim youth helpline for a few years. And then literally every time we train our counselors, we're like, this is what not to say to your clients. Yeah. And it was like everything my dad said. Yeah. And it was like, yeah. And so I don't know. I just always, I think like I like voiced it a lot to my family. I was like, I'm so unhappy. Like I'm binge eating all the time. I remember just sitting down and being like, I don't know what it's like to just eat a meal and then finish. Yeah. Like, what does that mean?
I don't know what that's like right now. Like, I literally do not know.
Like, to me, I was like, or I would go to restaurants or I would be in family events and I'd be like, I'm not going to eat them all the time. I'm not going to whatever. And then I'd go home and just binge until like literally either until I like threw up or until I just like physically there was no room.
Yeah.
And it was just so I gained like 50 pounds in like 3-4 months, something ridiculous. And I just like voiced to my family a lot. I was like, I'm so unhappy. Like this is a really bad time in my life, whatever. And any like personal stress would just like trigger it times like a million. Yeah. And so then like it took so long. It took like all of 2017, I would say, to like get out of it. Like 2016, like halfway, I kind of like tricked myself into like getting out of it through like practical things. Like I would be like, okay, what are some physical environments where you don't like binge eat? Is it when you're around people? Okay, then like spend the whole day outside in the library. Yeah. And my parents just like were so happy during that phase because all I did was stay at home in my room. And so they were like, this is amazing. She's always home. And I was like, you do not know how unamazing this is.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then like, but ironically, like my relationship with my mom was like so bad at that time. Because like, you know, when you're depressed, it's just like a downward spiral. Like,
because anything you say, like there's such a disconnect.
Yeah.
And like anything they say is immediately offensive because it is offensive.
Yeah.
And then on top of the fact that you're just not doing well, you're like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
That's why that's honestly, moving out has made my relationship with my parents like a lot better.
Yeah.
We used to fight like every day about like anything.
Yeah.
And like their views on stuff don't make any sense. Like when I voted liberal because like my choices were very terrible.
Yeah.
And they were like, how could you do that? Vote conservative. And I was like, you know, you're not white, right? Like are you okay? Like what is wrong with you? But like those were just a few things. And like,
you know what I compare like moving out to and your parent relationship becoming? So everybody told me that and I was like, that's like white parents, doesn't happen to me, right? But then like within 4 days of moving out, my parents were just like, we miss you, how are you? I was like, what?
I was like, I just saw you.
Yeah, and I realized it's like when you're, let's say like a family member has been traveling for like a month and then you pick them up from the airport and you're like super like cordial, formal, but you like them and you're really nice to them. You won't like be rude. That just becomes your entire relationship with your family because like they're like, oh, we don't want to upset her. We barely ever see her.
Exactly.
So we're just going to talk to her about the good stuff.
Back to the manipulation thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's so fucked up, but like it works out really well.
Yeah.
And like now my mom used to be like a very clingy person. Like we had a rough relationship and then she got really clingy.
Yeah.
But now she'll like tell my dad, she'll be like, she's working on her show stuff, like give her space, cute. Don't visit her. Meanwhile, my dad's like, I see her every Sunday no matter what. And he'll call me and be like, I'm downstairs. And I'm like, I'm not even, what are
that's
you?
So cute.
It is cute, but also I need space.
Yeah.
He sent me like 4 texts during the session.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
He sends me like videos, like those like inspirational videos that like fog people like reshare on Facebook.
100%.
I get them like every day.
Yeah.
Don't know why.
One time I was like, my friend sent me up a guy who sent me a video like that, and I was like, I severely misread you. I was like, help. I literally sent 911 texts to my friends. I was like, please, Lord, what is this? Like,
I went on one date with an Arab guy, like not Arab, but like you know what I mean, like from the community.
Yeah.
And I never dated an Egyptian again. I was like, I cannot do this. Especially if they're like from like directly, like you grew up with them, like you know them.
Yeah.
And it was just so weird. Like he made it weird, and then a few days later called me up and was like, I think we should stay friends. And I was like, I'd never considered anything outside that realm.
You're like, I rejected you before you rejected me.
Yeah, I was like, please get out of my life.
Yeah.
I was like, all these days have been weird. I tried to like test the waters, but I love being like just ridiculous with guys that I know are very like.
Yeah.
So I was like, he was like, oh, like what books do you read? And I was like, I just started reading, and I just like pulled this out of my ass. I was like, started reading 50 Shades of Grey. It's a great book. And he was like, and just kept driving. And I was like, yeah, this is not gonna work. So I ruined his life.
Yeah.
And then he keeps checking up on me, or like did for a while. Like he'd ask my cousin and be like, how's your cousin doing? And my cousin would be like, why does he keep asking me? And I'm like, I'm not gonna get into this.
Yeah.
Like I went on a date with him. It was weird.
Yeah.
Then I went on 2 more. Like I don't have boundaries or limits.
I would do that too. This is a horrible idea. Let's do it 10 more times. Totally.
Oh
man.
God.
Yeah, I don't, for some reason I could never see myself like being with an Egyptian. It's so weird. I just like, they're either like way too Egyptian, like too funny, too like, I guess like into the culture and everything, or I don't know. I'm just like, I can't. Even
and
though
like
there's
being
so many
into your
of them.
culture is so fine, but it's almost as if they're like, you know, when
But
like
no,
the
if
FIFA
you
Cup
spend-
happens and like Italians are super excited about that. That's like, Egyptian guys like 24/7.
Yeah.
They're just like, Egypt is everything. Oh my god. And I'm like, relax. Like, we didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, we barely built the pyramids. Like, that wasn't us.
100%.
And white people think aliens made them. Like,
Yeah.
that's how much you guys gave to us. So I'm like, why are you so proud?
It's so weird. I don't know. Like, if you spend time with Egyptians though, like in Egypt, it gets overwhelming.
Yep.
You know, it's just like, I don't know, it's weird. Even like here though, if I spend like a lot of time with like white people just nonstop, I'm like, oh I need a break.
I need culture again.
Yeah, I need culture. I need my friends. I need, you know what I mean? When I spend too much time with Egyptians, I'm like, oh,
like, I need to be alone.
Yeah, 100%. I'm like, take me back to like white people.
I thought when I was gonna meet my cousins for the first time, because they're like from Australia, I was like, they're gonna be cool. They're gonna be Australian.
Yeah.
But like, because their parents are so strict, all they know is like Egyptian culture and like going to church, and church is the only thing they go to, and the youth group is church, and their friends are church.
Yeah.
So like, I also tried to test the waters with them, and I said something about like, I wanted to see if I could like be myself around them, right? So I think somebody brought up the topic of being gay, and like the coolest one out of the three was like, nah mate, it's wrong or whatever. That's English. I don't know how to do an Australian accent. But he just like went off, and I was like, this is weird. So it was like a weird blend of like my white cousins that aren't white that are Egyptian, and then everyone's really Arab, and then I was like, I just need to go home. Like the first week was like very eat, pray, love.
Yeah.
And then the 2 weeks after that, I was like, take me back home.
Yeah, that's when it gets like too real. And you're just like, okay, I really don't like these
I got sick of eating meat.
Yeah,
like,
oh my god, because it's like in every meal.
Hawashi, shawarma.
Yeah.
I asked for something vegetarian, it was still meat. Like it didn't make any sense.
Only kushari, that's the only thing that's like, it's so funny because I'll tell my mom, I'm like, Mama, like, Basma or whatever, this friend or whatever is vegetarian. And my mom would be like, oh, how do I'm like, it's like a disease. I'm like, actually, it is a conscious ethical choice. And if you look at the Prophet's life, he was pretty much a vegetarian, except on occasions. Like, and my mom's just like, what is this nonsense that you're saying? And I'm like, wow, like, just nobody it's just anything cultural, like, you have to.
And if I ever rejected food, it's not that they were, like, usually people, like, they get offended, but I just kept rejecting food so much because I was so full, like, they kept feeding me, and I was just like, I really can't. And they were like, are you okay?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm fine, but I've had 7 different types of meat in this one sitting. Do you remember my Snap? I had an Instagram story that I posted, and it was like just a table, like a long table of like chicken, another type of chicken, pig, whatever else that could have been killed was killed and put on that table, and it was so... I was kind of disgusted. Oh man.
Where are you from in Egypt? Alexandria or Cairo?
No. We were in Cairo.
Okay.
Alexandria. I was thinking I would get killed if I went there.
Yeah.
My dad was like, we should go, it'll be so beautiful. And I was like, I'm covered in tattoos. And
I feel like Alexandria is like the fisherman's like wharf. It's kind of like Halifax probably.
Yeah.
To like
exactly.
Here. Yeah. And it probably has like the super cultural, super religious, like, you probably would.
And my dad was like, that's where all the artifacts are. And I was like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, if you want to see artifacts, like, we have to go. And I thought Alexandria was like right next door. Because like when you look at Africa on a map, you're just like, wow. Everything's
super close.
right beside each other. And he was like, no, it's like 6 hours away. And I was like, hell no. Like, it's hot. I'm not going to. And like transportation in Egypt makes no sense.
Yeah.
Didn't go to Alexandria. Kind of wish I did, but also didn't.
It's, I don't know, it's like super calm. It's literally like going by the water, and all you eat there is like seafood nonstop.
I wish.
So it's just like.
Is that where you're from?
No, we're from Cairo, like super hectic within the city. I don't even know, there's so many places in Cairo.
There's like the city, and then there's like 30 cities within Cairo.
Exactly. And like to get from like one city to another within Cairo is like a good hour. Like, it's nuts.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
But we took Ubers everywhere.
Yeah,
which was such a cool concept.
This other thing called Kedim, which was like even cheaper than
Uber. Of course.
Yeah, it was literally like half the price of. We were like perfect. Uber was like already like $2, and then this was like because of like the currency. Yeah.
When I found out that like one Egyptian pound
was like
less than 10 cents in Canada, I was like, what? And then I started buying the most. I have so many mini tablas.
Yeah.
Tiny drums. Tiny drum keychains. I bought like 30.
Yeah.
And then I accidentally stepped on half of them.
Okay, when we went to like one of the street markets, which is a super touristy street market, so already the prices are hiked up like times 10.
The one that
yeah.
Oh my god, it's
so
beautiful.
amazing. I actually love it.
Yeah.
And so like my uncle is like so bougie to the point where like, so he's like all about, like he was against the revolution, so he was like super pro CC and stuff, and then he comes to us and he's like, "Mom, like Egypt is amazing now. It's so clean. It's so." He's like anti like anything to do with. First of all, he's like totally self-hating, internally colonized.
Yep.
Like he's like, "I look French. Nobody ever knows I'm
My
Egyptian."
my
I'm
dad's
like, "Why are you like
cousin
this?"
will say French words.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
And they're like, because the French were here. I'm like, they weren't
Merci,
visiting.
yeah, that's how they
They were colonized.
Yeah, they're like, merci is like the like fancy thing. Or they'll be like, oh, chic, oui. And I'm like, shut up. Like, I get so annoyed, right? Anyway, so they're all about like being bougie and like their being bougie is like next level. Like you have to have, I don't want to say it's like Dubai, but like you have to have like the latest bags, the latest.
But it's funny because like the stuff that comes through to Egypt, like the designer stuff, probably isn't designer.
Yeah.
Like it's literally some other guy probably swapped out that designer shit and was like, here's a fake. And they're like, look at me and my LV. I only wear LV. I'm like, that's a polo shirt.
Yeah.
And it's got 3 horses on it. Like that's not real.
Exactly. But my cousins who are there who are like super bougie, they like originally are from the States, so they'll always come here, do their shopping here, and then take it back there. So then it's like, but all their friends are like that also. Yeah. They live in like some like Western country and they all have like businesses there. Like that's how, basically if you make money here, you're never gonna be like super rich here. You'll just be like a suburban regular family.
But
like,
if you go to Egypt, you're balling.
Oh, 100%.
You've got a driver, you've got people that take care of your house.
Exactly, because unions, minimum wage does not exist. So, like, I remember we had this family member from my dad's side who was, like, super well off there, and she came here and she's like, everything here is for money, like, even parking. Just, like, you know, if you want to get a maid, if you want to get, like, anything, you have to pay. And we're like, yes, it's called a minimum wage. It's called being, like, a decent human being. And they just have, like, no concept of that because, like, they pay them nothing there. And then my cousins were complaining to me, they're like, it's so hard to find, like, a housemaid or somebody or whatever who doesn't steal. Like, they'll always steal your purses, they'll steal this and that, they'll steal whatever. And I'm like, yes, you blame them. The system is literally set up for them to, like, they have no money. Like, they're so broke.
Also, why do you need a maid?
Yeah.
Like, it's dusty anyways. Like, when I got to Egypt, there wasn't a day that I didn't have sand, like, in a part of my body. Like, I was like, this is ridiculous. And they were, like, sweeping the living room. Yeah. Like, my cousin. And I was like, why?
Yeah.
The window's open.
Yeah.
There's sand outside.
Yeah.
It's gonna come inside. Just stay in it.
Yeah.
Like, give up. Or get a vacuum.
I know.
No, it's so bizarre. Like,
I know. It's like so nuts there. But yeah, basically like, I don't even remember where we were before this.
I
would like trace it all the way back. It's like a math equation every single time.
Something about Egypt, to be honest.
Yeah, but in terms of like, I guess, like going back to like Khalidi or whatever.
Right.
So my uncle was like, he's like super bougie and stuff, right? So he'll be like, Egypt is so clean now, it's so perfect. And he'll only go from like the gated villa mansions that we live in to like another gated mall mansion, like water fountain thing, and he'll basically like close his eyes like on the way. And so I was like, I don't know what the fuck is this? I was like, this is a sanitized, bougie version of Egypt.
Yeah.
I was like, take me to the street where, first of all, I can't communicate and I'm going to get kidnapped, whatever. And so then they took us to Khalidi. My uncle was like, no, I don't want to come. To him, that was way too, like, street.
What?
And I was like, what?
Yeah, but that is Egypt. Like, that is, I had the best time there.
Yeah, it was amazing. And that's not even, like, I would still say that's in like the top like 70%.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that was still kind of like bougie.
Yeah, because
there's that
it's
like
super
bougie
touristy.
restaurant. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So then we go there, and he was like, he refused to come. Anyways, we go there, and then I'm literally obsessed with belly dancing, like 100% obsessed. So I know my parents are like, we don't nothing, and so like I go there, and then they sell the belly dance belts, right? And they were selling them for like £50.
Yeah.
Which translates to like $12, probably even less.
Not even 12. They're being so nice. That's like $1.
Yeah, it's super cheap, right? And so then, and that was me like bargaining with my broken Arabic and like whatever. And then so I get it, and I had like run out of money, so I asked my mom, I was like, Mom, can I borrow like 50 pounds? She just like lost her shit. She was like, no, like this is my money, get your own money, whatever. You always forget, you have to pay me back the second I get back to the hotel. I'm like, relax, like it's just 50 pounds, whatever, I'll pay you back. So she gives it to me and I bought it, and then my cousins needed like some dress or something, so they took something from me, which was a gift to one of my friends. So then I had like lost a gift to my friend, so I just ended up giving that to her, right? Yeah. And then in the summer, my friend was like, can you do like a choreographed belly dance for us? So I was like, okay. And then now I come here and I'm like on the hunt for
I have one.
belly dance belts. Yeah, they're so hard to find here.
Yeah, but like you can use mine if you want.
You're so cute.
I just literally, it just hangs in my bedroom, and I always think that I'm gonna have like a Shakira moment.
Yeah.
And like impress stage. Like a gentleman or something, and then I'm like, this is just decoration.
Yeah, but basically what happened is I came back here, and any place here that sells it is like $50.
Yeah, and I'm like,
$75.
For what?
For like one of the lines, like literally a quarter of like
the napkin that you wear on your head.
And I was like, oh my god, I wish I bought like 10 of them in Egypt. I would have
the guy tried to sell me a set. Here. He was like, do you want the napkin and do you want the headpiece? And I was like, I'm not that real. This is just, I'm gonna hang this over my bed. That's about it.
Exactly. But yeah, it's like super, super cheap there. But then, but it's at the expense of like the marginalized, right? Like it's so.
There's no, like when I went there, I realized there was no actual like, here we have
a middle class.
Yeah. We have like some disability help. Like it's still shitty, but like when I was there and like you saw people who were disabled, like they were literally dragging their bodies on the ground. Yeah. And it was like, it was so messed, and it's not accessible. Like elderly people can't get it. Like we had my grandmother's sister who was like, she's got like so many issues and like can barely walk and stuff. Yeah. And like just for her to get into our apartment, we needed like 3 people to take her up and down like every time. Oh yeah. And like the elevators. The elevators fit like is like the size of this table. Yeah. Which somehow me and my dad.
And you have to like close the door like a cabinet.
And hope like, that you get out.
Yeah, exactly. It's so weird, but I realized that one of the major reasons for this is because like volunteering or like just being a selfless person, but that concept doesn't exist to them.
But it's also so weird because they're also such like hospitable people. Yeah. So I'm like, why don't you just use that?
Yeah, I think the way it works is they don't work for bigger causes. So the way that here it's like a super individualistic society. Like everybody's kind of like on their own. Everybody does their own thing. They hate kids. They hate families. They're super all about themselves. And then they'll be like, oh, okay, I want to just like love myself or be altruistic or whatever. So then they'll be like, what are some organizations that I like and agree with? What are some causes, whatever, activism, that kind of stuff, right? Whereas over there, because they're so hospitable, if they know that somebody needs something, everybody in the neighborhood will kind of like gather money or whatever, give to this person or take this person in or whatever, like give them food, all that kind of stuff. Like they're very like neighborly, they're super friendly in that way. But then like bigger causes like NGOs or other like, you know, just volunteering at the hospital or volunteering here, volunteering there, they're just like,
why would I do that?
Yeah.
No, I don't have time for
understand. That. Exactly.
It's such a weird.
Like at my cousin's wedding last year, they literally had an entire banquet hall, just filled with food. There was like, this is so bougie. I need to show you the clips because nobody believes it. But there was like an entire like spread of like all meats, like different types of meats, and then there was a pasta like restaurant section, and then there was like fried fish or like barbecued fish, whatever.
I think we were at the same wedding.
Yeah, it was nuts. And then everybody like whatever. When the wedding finished at like 3 a.m. By the way, 4 a.m. I was dying. I left at like 3:30. I was like, I can't handle this.
You stayed until I wanted to.
Because we were in the hotel, so we were in the hotel where it was happening. So we went upstairs, and then right when I was going upstairs, I passed by that banquet hall and it was filled with food still. Like it was like self-replenished. There was a rice, I'm not joking, a rice like bowl or whatever, cauldron that was like as big as this room.
The witches are making rice
tonight. It was huge. It was literally as big as this room. And then I'm looking at all of it and I was like, is this food gonna get thrown?
Do they throw it out?
I feel like.
The only reason people throw out food in Canada is because it's like
Yeah,
like
not
a legal
sanitary
thing.
or whatever.
Yeah. But I feel like in Egypt, like, they'd give it to someone.
I don't know, like, I hope they do, but I feel like those bougie places would just be like, well, we don't care, we're rich.
There's, like, a secret Hollywood in Egypt. Like, for my cousin's wedding, they took us on this, like, bus to fit, like, our family and whoever wasn't, like, just a bunch of, like, coach buses.
Yeah.
And it took us up this mountain, and I was like, where the fuck are we going?
Yeah.
Like, I am hot, I'm in a dress, I'm in heels, I'm wearing tattoos, I could get attacked at any time now, just get me off this bus. And I was so hungry, I got corn off, like, some guy outside, and I was eating corn on a coach bus. And they turned around, and, like, behind this mountain that we were on was this, like, Hollywood-style, like, golf place. And I'm like, who the fuck is playing golf in Egypt, first of all?
That was our resort that we stayed at. It was, like, the Marriott, and it was just all golf. I was like, does anybody know how to play? I was so confused.
Have you ever seen an Arab person, like, play golf ever?
No, it's for, like, the one white ambassador that has to stay in the hotel.
He's like, do you have golf here? And they're like,
of course, sir.
We have shisha.
Yeah. But yeah. Oh, I'm showing you the snaps. They're definitely the next level. Like that. They brought Hakeem the singer. You know, the one who sings Assalamu Alaikum.
What?
Yeah.
I'm fangirling so hard. Are you serious?
I swear to God, he was like dancing with us.
That's insane. That's like my childhood crush. Now that I'm realizing he's like probably 80 years old.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. He's like, you can like see the plastic surgery on his face. It was like, Amr Diab is like #1 in Egypt, and then him, and then Hakeem.
We had some guy also sing at the wedding, and people were going crazy, and I was like, but he was literally just wearing like a polo shirt, a suit jacket, and jeans, and like Italian shoes. Like he just looked like he was going out for the day.
Yeah.
And that was his like performance clothing.
Yeah.
But he was like the Beyonce of the wedding, and I was like, who is this? And he was just like singing on top of like a speaker, and everyone was going crazy, and I like could not give a fuck.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, "No, you should go say hi to him." And I'm like, I don't know who that is.
I don't exactly.
But also, I don't know who anyone is. Like,
that's the thing. Like, you'll go and then they'll play all these songs to you, and they're like melting it along, and I'm like, I only know 2001.
They played a Beyonce song, and I was like, "Bye!" And I was just like standing there, like disapprovingly.
You're like, this is my one time.
Yeah, I was like, please, it's been 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
This one song is saving me. Oh my God. I think one more person, nope.
When was the last time you went to Egypt, by the way? Oh.
It was in September. I went September to mid-October.
Yeah.
I will never, ever, ever go again for 3 long-ass weeks.
Okay. Oh yeah, 3 weeks is a long time.
It's like it would be fun to go with like friends.
Yeah.
But then you remember that your friends would get kidnapped.
Yeah. Also like money and like accommodations, places to stay. Like I totally just piggybacked off my mom booking the hotel.
Yeah, same. Yeah. We got a house that was like an apartment or whatever, and it never do this.
Yeah.
They were like, my dad was like, oh, I was like, where are we staying? And he was like, our cousin rented us like this apartment. Also, they don't have like real like leases.
Yeah.
You can just rent a place for like a week.
Yeah.
Like an actual, and it was 3 bedrooms.
Yeah.
With, so my cousin's family is the 3 kids, the 2 parents, 2 grandmas, me and my dad.
Yeah. And
like 3 other people that stayed there. And we all, yeah. So there was like 12 people in there. I didn't count, but it was a lot.
That is a lot.
That's where we stayed. But we also paid like a hydro bill, but we didn't know. Like somebody just shows up with a piece of paper.
Our bill's real in Egypt. I don't even know how
everything
works.
A tiny piece of paper showed up at the door, and it, like somebody just wrote on it.
Yeah.
And that was the hydro bill.
Yeah.
And then my dad was like, oh, this is a lot. And I was like, a lot in like what sense? He's like, no, like it's not a lot in Canadian dollars. And I was like, so what? Like, you could stay in a place, like, for 3 weeks for, like, $100.
Yeah. And here, that's, like, Airbnb, like, just like the cleaning service.
You, like, just stepped in. And
exactly.
Like,
exactly.
No, I would go, but I think I would, like, I wouldn't tell my family I was going. Like, I'd tell, like, 2 of my cousins
Yeah.
Because, like, the minute they find out you're going, they're
going to be like, visit us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then every day is a visit.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think the start to this entire question, me just going back, was literally, what are your goals?
What are my goals? For what?
I don't know, like with comedy or everything.
How did we
Let me tell you about Egypt.
And
belly dance belts.
That's so funny. My goals with comedy? Yeah. No, I was asking you what your goals were.
Well, now I want to know yours.
I don't know. I really don't know.
I'm like, so, I don't know, Does everybody in the comedy... First of all, I feel like such a noob in the comedy community. I feel like I'm like, everybody please be my friend.
Don't do that. Don't be friends with anyone. If anyone talks to her or touches her, I will literally kill you.
Like, I see, like, brunches and stuff that, like, that comedians have, and I'm like, but what can I do? I've been, like, hounding Hudo, like, literally courting her. I'm like, please, ma'am. Like, flowers.
Yeah, that's the only person you'll have to hang out with.
And she's just like... She's literally, I'm like, please, like, return my texts. And she's like, no.
Yeah, you suck at replying to text. It's not just you.
Yeah. But, yeah, so I don't know. I feel like, so, like, a lot of the comedians, I don't know if they want to move to the States, but in my mind, somebody who's, like, just entering, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's, like, the regular transition. Like, you start here, whatever, then go to, like, New York or LA. But
I think that's what I thought I wanted to do, and then Trump became president, and now I'm like, why don't we just do it here?
Yeah.
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 So I think, like, my long-term goal is just to be, like, wildly successful.
Yeah.
Like, just be, like, it was so easy for, like, comedians who were starting out before the social media age to become big.
Yeah.
And now they're even bigger.
Oh, really?
Because, like, they came in at, like, the perfect time. You know what I mean? Like, being a comedian was so rare, they hit the jackpot, they made their money, they became big.
Yeah.
And now I feel like we're all doing our own thing, and we're all posting on, we all have our social media followings, we all have this, and it's kind of like, what is the big thing?
Yes.
So I don't know. I really don't know. There's just so many avenues you can take.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I wanted to be like an actor when I was younger, and I don't like cameras, so I don't know how this...
Oh, man, I know, I don't know, because I also agree with the whole, like, social media thing. Like, I feel like every single person I've talked to on a podcast for the past, like, month has always brought up this topic. But it's like, before I was like, I'm too humble for social media. I was like, I'm gonna get just so big, like, just putting my head down and working in the actual industry. And then when they pick me up and they're like, okay, here's all your success and all your followers, I'll be like, I mean, fine, if you insist. But now it's like, people will get big because of their social networks. Like, they'll be like, I have this many followers or whatever, book me on a show, or like, whatever, give me a movie deal or this
But
and
I think it's not even, it's like your connection with your followers.
Yes,
and
that's
it's like
huge.
your actual reach.
Yeah.
Like, people can have like thousands of followers, but like if nobody gives a shit about what they're saying, or like they don't have a relationship, then like they're not going anywhere.
Which is so interesting, because for me, I was like, I'm so scared anytime like people follow me or whatever. I was like, they're just looking for something like specific for me. I am this brand, and I can only be this brand. I cannot like stray outside of it, right? But then you lose user engagement that way, and like if you don't constantly post, or you're not like constantly interacting with them or whatever, then like
but it becomes like such a routine. Like, I don't even know I'm posting a lot, because I was like born in the social media era, and people are like, Anna, you're always on Facebook, but I don't even feel it. Yeah. Like, I'm doing it like right now, or I do it like while I'm working. It's so weird. Like, I'm just like very and I still only have 2,000 followers. Please follow me.
People are rude.
Yeah. Oh my. I post great content. Yeah. Dick pics that I receive in my DMs.
A Kim K crying sticker. Is that from your work? Oh my god, it all makes sense now.
So I started a new job where I work at a sticker company, and they were like, you can print like a sheet of stickers for free, and then my other manager was like, you can, so I just kept printing stickers.
Obviously Kim K crying.
And, exactly. And I looked, it's so hard to find that picture of her crying in a good resolution. Kim K, get your shit together, because it's all like locked. Yeah. So I finally found one, and I printed a whole sheet of stickers. I gifted half of them to my friend because he loves Kim Kardashian, and I was like, this is perfect, and I stuck it on everything I gave him. And then I use them as pasties.
Oh my god.
Because that's my brand.
This is literally...
this is like two polar opposites.
I tell everyone, I'm like, Anasimone is like the Coptic version of me. She's literally Venus.
And the Coptics are like, she's not one of us.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Well, do you have any social media handles that you'd like to say right now?
Oh yes, I should actually promote myself. I'm so bad.
Yes. Are you on any podcasts lately? Any shows?
Well, I'm on the Anasimone show. But yeah, just I guess follow me on Instagram. That's probably where I'm most active. So it's just You can just search Salma Hindy. So
Oh yeah, you can't really just search. Or type in women in comedy and she pops up on Instagram.
No.
That's how I found you.
Actually?
Yeah, you use that as one of your hashtags.
Did I actually?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I saw her set and then I like creepily messaged her and was like, hey, I'm starting this like show. Do you like want to be on it?
Oh my
Actually,
God.
no, I didn't.
I think I messaged you.
You messaged me.
Because Andrew told me about you.
Yeah, I backspaced my message. I was going to message you and be like, hey, and then I did it.
You were like, never mind.
And you literally emailed me like a week later and I was like, woo, I don't look weird.
You were like, she slid into my DM. Like, you like play that game where like, who's gonna ask who out first? I'm shameless. My God, I'll be like, why do we have 300 mutual friends and we've never met?
I can never. Every time I do that, like anytime I've asked a person out, they've been gay.
Oh, so
like, and not on like my end of gay. Like it's been a man. Like one time, this guy was like in university. I'm gonna wrap this up super quick. It's just a fun story. But he was like, we were all going out for drinks, and then I wanted to like invite him, and I was like, you should like come out for like drinks or something.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I'm gonna go home to my boyfriend, and I was like,
okay.
Same. I'm also gonna do that. Anyways, thank you so much for being on my show. This is Salma Hindy, who is also a biomedical engineer. Did I say that right?
Yes. I was a lawyer this morning too. I was like, I mean.
She said she was like Queen's Park, and I was like, she's a lawyer. I don't know anything about anything. This has been the Anasimone show, and have a great night.